Our next presentation, we've got Joe Mayrose with Pheasants Forever, Ryan Marr with NRCS, and Jay Hermann with NRCS. They're going to introduce us to the NRCS seed calculator as a means of helping to plan your seed mix out.
When we were putting this presentation together, I was trying to figure out how to do it. And then I passed it off to these two guys, and to me, the easiest way was to do it in steps. So we got these 5 steps. We want to establish our goal. And then we want to find the resources that we need to look at and help us meet that goal. And then we want to develop a plan, develop our seed mix, and then evaluate that seeding. So the goals, again, I hit this before and I'll hit it again here, is when we're developing seed mix with a landowner, we want those goals in mind of what they need and what they want. And then do they meet the same goals as our agency? So for an example here, you know, if a guy comes in and he wants to establish CRP, and okay, it's all right. I said, okay, we go with CRP. What kind of mix do you want? And he goes, well, I don't know. And I go, what's your long-term goal? What are you going to do with that mix after you're done with CRP? Are you going to hay it? Are you going to graze it? Or are you going to tear it up and put it back in the cropland? That determines what kind of seed mix I'm going to get. Because, yes, some of the program rules and program practices dictate what I have to put out there, but sometimes I can go over and above that to meet the producer's goal after that CRP contract's up. Okay, so again, we want to refer back to our resources. And so this slide's up here for that. We want to check our soils. Like I said earlier today, we want to check our soils. That's our foundation. What's going to grow out there? Is there a saline area that I need to be worried about? Or do I have inclusions in that soil, such as wetlands or something like that, that I need to take into consideration when I'm working with a producer? I also want to refer back to my ecological site again. That's going to give me a really good idea of what kind of grasses I can look at, what kind of forage there can be growing out there, or I can expect to grow out there. And then we got 2 tech notes that we have in the NRCS, range tech note 4. That tech note helps us properly get everything in order. It helps us explain to our employees and to producers, because I believe that's all public information, how to select your seed and how to vote cultivars and everything else. That also in there, and no one kind of touched on that a little bit, is that when we're selecting seed for NRCS seedings, we can only go so far from South Dakota. We don't get seed from all over the place. We don't want to bring seed up from Texas. Even though it's big blue stem in Texas, the big blue stem in Texas isn't the same big blue stem we grew up here. And so we were very careful about how far out we can go and get seed from. And then we also have a range tech note 11, and that really was designed to help our seed companies and our newer employees kind of have a step or a place to go to have like a pre-mix for them. And so we have several different scenarios in there, or practices that we do that will help them, guide them down on what kind of seed mix to proceed with. Yeah, we did a lot of research here for this presentation, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of it.
So web soil survey, I'm sure most people have used this before. If not, you Google web soil survey, but it's a really handy tool. It's got all sorts of information for the seeding end of things. The big things we need is the actual soils classification and then ecological sites. So that's really what we're looking at here.
And then the next resource that we have I refer to a lot, and I'm sure a lot of staff refers to a lot, is our CRP cheat sheet. And this kind of has some quick information to tell us, you know, what's required with some of these practices, whether that's a species requirement or an acre requirement. This new cheat sheet has hyperlinks attached to it that'll actually take you to the tech notes that Jay was referencing to help design those seed mixes, and another reference for you.
Okay, so you talked about the CRP cheat sheet, some of our practice guidelines. Here is one of our harder CRP mixes that we have to follow program guidelines on. This is from the FSA's CRP manual, taken straight out of there. So you can see there's a lot of requirements associated with that. So as agency folk, same with landowners, think about the practice you're going to pick. There could be a lot of extra program guidelines that we have to follow in order to make that work. So just on the seeding tool itself, you know, one of the things for that pollinator mix, it needed to have 3 species per bloom period. On that tool, it has bloom by month per species. So that's helpful to make sure that you're meeting those program guidelines. Here's a 30 species mix that meets program guidelines. It doesn't obviously have to be that diverse for that one, but you know, just going back to the seeding tool and making sure it works is also a good resource. So. Okay, so then on the other end of the spectrum, we have some practices that don't really require a lot of program guidelines that we have to meet. This is a simple saline seep mix that NRCS developed, kind of a can one, you know, and you're really just trying to get seed out there on that salty area and get something to grow. So it can be as difficult as the pollinator, but it can also be kind of simple.
Okay, so we're on to step 3 of our plan here. And so now what we want to do is evaluate our seed bed. We want to go out there and evaluate what we have on the land. And then we kind of need to know what kind of seeding we're going to do. Is it a stand enhancement seeding? Is it a reinforcement seeding? Or are we starting from scratch? Are we going to seed right into bare ground like a cropland field? And then we also need to ask a few questions of our producer. We need to know what kind of equipment he has available, or maybe ask our conservation districts what kind of equipment they have available if they're going to do the seeding to get that job done. Do they have a no-till drill? Is that the only resource we got, or do we can get our hands on a special grass drill, or are we going to broadcast it? But we need to do that, and we need to go to the field and see if those resources that we have available to us are going to work in the field. So when we develop a seed mix, you know, you might not know what you're going to get or what to do if you're a new employee or if you're a producer. So who are you going to call? Well, call one of us, or call Owen, or call somebody in this room that kind of knows and done a lot. When we're doing one for the NRCS, we're going to go to our South Dakota seeding tool. And all the information that's in the South Dakota seeding tool is also available in our Techno 4. The seed mixes are based on goals. And so are we going to develop a seed mix for grazing? Are we going to develop a seed mix for hay? Are we going to develop a seed mix for a critical area seeding that may be on erodible ground or something like that? Or are we going to develop that seed mix for wildlife?
I know we kind of hammered it in a bunch, but I mean, I came to the area 5 years ago from Montana, and I didn't know anything about East River seedings. So touching base with people like Jay, Owen I've called before, Dan Nelson from Game Fish and Parks, you just need to start calling people and letting them know you don't really know what you're doing, because there's tons of people in your local area that know what they're doing. You just got to find those people and figure out who you're going to call. So.
Okay, the South Dakota seeding tool. It's a gem. You can find it on this website. And NRCS determines our seed rates by the following. This is going to be really difficult for you and really difficult for me, so I'll try to make it as painless as possible. I wish we had a shot of whiskey right now. But anyways, when we determine the seed rate, we're taking the desired seeds per square foot divided by the seeds in a pound of any given species, and that's going to give us our pure live seed pounds per acre. So, and I got an example up there. If there's 176,000 seeds in a pound of big blue stem, and we want 25 or 30 seeds per acre, we're going to take that 30 seeds per square foot divided by the 43,560, which is square feet in an acre, and then divide that, or times that, and then we're going to divide it by that 176, and that's going to give us 7.4 pounds of pure life seed per acre for a full rate of Big Blue Stem. Okay? I hope I screwed that up enough for you. And then, like I said, everything is figured on pure life seed basis. So when we're figuring pure life seed basis, we're taking our bulk and we're going to times it out by our purity and our germ to get our pure life seed. And that'll also give us our bulk rate. But the good news is that our seeding tool will do it. And like Owen said, you know, Excel is a great tool if you know how to use it. Our seeding tool is just a big Excel spreadsheet. That's all it is. Click. So if that didn't confuse you, I don't know what will.
All right, so here we just wanted to show a couple mixes, 11 species and a nearly 50 species mix, and kind of looking at that price difference. Now this could be quite a bit different now, and depending on what species you're selecting, you know, that can really change what your price is going to be per acre on those mixes. And as we mentioned earlier, you know, keep your goals in mind of what, you know, the practice is requiring and what the landowner is looking for, and really try not to let, you know, costs dictate what your goals are in the end. So here's another little example of partridge pea and prairie cinquefoil. If you look at the cost there per pound, $14 versus $350 a pound. And then if you look down at the bottom there, the price per percent that it's included in the mix is actually a little bit less there for the prairie cinquefoil. So just another example there to try not to let the prices necessarily dictate what you're putting in the mixes.
So rates, when you're using the seeding tool, you're trying to come up with rates for species. This one's pretty important, and it's derived a lot from your experience. The seeding tool itself, when you put in the soils in the ecological site, it has some parameters that it doesn't want you to go over certain percentages per species. But again, you know, you got to go out there and evaluate stands or talk to somebody that has a little bit more and see what's working. You know, some of the examples that we talked about just between us is Canada wild rye. You know, it's an early successional species. We know that. You plant it early, it starts to fall off. But we've noticed in Cottington County, it's probably held on a little bit longer than it has in Spink County, maybe affecting some of the species that show up right away and maybe affecting it. Orchard grass is another one that we saw had kind of some discrepancies between Cottington County and Spink County. So, I mean, we're going to hammer it home again. But, I mean, first of all, go out and evaluate your seedings. Test some stuff out. See what works in your area on different ecological sites. And then ask other people what's worked. You know, Owen, Dan, you know, all those guys that have kind of done some more of these seedings, just ask them and kind of develop what works in your area. So this is just a slide just showing, you know, a couple of different locations. Maybe certainly ecological sites are different, probably in different areas of the state. You know, what works in one, you know, we got the Canada wild rye in one seeding. You might not want to put in the other seeding. Just depends upon your locality and your experience from the past. So.
Yeah. So NRCS, we're conservative with all of our rates, especially our seeding rates. This one here, a lot of our programs will only pay up to 100%. Here, I developed a seed mix that was over 100%, and that's okay for us to do that, just like Owen does. He's shooting for so many seeds per square foot. You know, NRCS does too, but we determine ours a little bit differently. A lot of our plant material centers that we have will actually say, okay, you only need maybe 30 seeds per square foot to be considered a successful full rate seeding. And we might not always get that. But this just an example that I can go over that. We recommend that, but we're also going to have to tell the producer or you guys that NRCS is going to go and pay up to 100%, not 110%. All right, so we're down to step 5, and we're going to evaluate that seeding. So we're going to refer to our range tech note 1. If you don't know how to evaluate a seeding, that kind of helps you determine if your seeding is successful or not. Basically, what that tech note says is we go out there and we pretty much determine how many seeds per square foot are growing. Maintenance, is maintenance being done to help to establish the stand? Tech note 4 has some reference to that, and they also have reference to how many square foot or seeds per square foot we have. And so for the eastern side of the state, we're shooting for 30 seeds per square foot. Western side of the state, we're shooting around that 25 seeds per square foot, and that's on a pure live seed basis. And then we want to evaluate if our stand is good. And so taking photos, taking notes is always helpful to know if that stand is taking off and being successful.
Yep, so like Jay mentioned, having a maintenance plan in place when we're working with these producers on, how they might approach controlling some weed pressure right off the bat, if they're going to clip, burn, or graze, and what tools are available to that landowner to really help these stands get to establishment. And every stand's a little bit different. Some are going to require a lot more maintenance than others, so it's an important part in developing that seed plan as well. So the main takeaway that we wanted to leave you with is don't try to force a square peg in a round hole. Be aware of your ecological sites and get out in the field, take a look at the area. Make sure you're not trying to plant a crazy diverse mix in one of those saline areas, which might already struggle to get established with right away.
And that's it. Thank you.